Hello and welcome to lesson number 3 of this course, where you'll learn about the data types in JavaScript. And there are 7 data types in total. 5 of them are primary, 2 are composite. Let's go ahead and start with the primary ones. These are string, number, Boolean, null, and undefined. The string is basically a group of characters. So you would say, for example, var name equals John. That's a string. And you can use double quotes, and you can also use single quotes, but it's usually preferred to use double quotes. The number data type would be something like this: age 32. This is written without any kind of quotes. If you would put 32 inside quotes, it would then be treated as a string instead of a number. Now, numbers can be either integers like this or floating points like this, 32.12. That's a valid number. The next type is Boolean. Now, Boolean is a special type because it can only hold 2 values, very different from the other 2 types. It can be true or false. So I can say something like married equals true or equals false. The 4th primary data type is null. Now, the null data type has a single value in JavaScript, and that is null. And it's usually used to erase the contents of a variable without deleting the variable itself. All you have to do, for example, is set age to null, and age will have no value whatsoever. Finally, the undefined data type usually happens when you're trying to access an object property that doesn't exist, or you're trying to access a variable that has not been given a value. So for example, if I set a variable here called car model, for example, and I go back here and I say car model, it's going to return undefined, while if I say age, it's going to give me back null. So you see the difference between the two. But if I say name, it's going to return John. So those are the 5 primary data types. Now, before we move on, I just want to quickly show you something called type of. Now, type of is an operator, and you do something like this: type of, and it's followed by an operand. So watch what happens if I say type of age. Type of age gives me an object. But if I say type of name, it's going to give me a string. Let's try type of car model. It gives me undefined. So what happens is, when you're using the type of operator, it's going to return the type or the data type of the operand. So for example, if I say type of false, gives me Boolean. If I say type of false in double quotes, it's going to give me a string. So it's a very nice way of checking the type of a variable. And this can be used in lots of different ways. For example, when you're doing some operations between 2 variables, and first you want to make sure that they have the same type to prevent errors. Now, that's pretty much it for the primary data types. The composite data types I mentioned earlier are arrays and objects. There are 2 of them, and we'll be learning about those in the next lesson.